Yeah, like typically it is for a historical period fashion, one of those projects that you will incorporate it into. Let me get Isabel back into the room. Maybe it's going to be for your unidentifiable you project, but when you do it is up to you. Like I said, so that, and to the what scale and to what shape you create it is totally up to you as well. So what I'll do with you on November 1st is I'll give you the tool, the netting that you will be building it onto as a base. I have different colors of this. So in fact, I need to go get more of my dark color because I don't have any right now, but you'll have a workspace, death mask is what we used to call them. Life cast is another term for it. You can also just do it on a styrofoam wig block. But anyway, a workspace for you to build something that is in proportion to a human face. And that's where you'll build your facial hair piece on in whatever style and length you want to incorporate into the next project, whatever project you want to do that for. We do a similar deal. It's a little bit more controlled, and that is when you will be building your prosthetic, latex prosthetic piece, which is a prosthetic is just something else that you add on to your face. An appliance is another term for it sometimes. So maybe it's a fake nose, maybe it's a scar, but that's another project that we do, your own creation or your own imagination of where it is going to work into a design. And then you'd also do that and build it onto that death mask or styrofoam head. We'll talk about that later. What other questions about the eyebrows or facial hair projects? Taking them away or adding it on? I'm gonna pin me. So my hair is like crazy. I don't know why it's standing up so much, but it needs to be cut. Anyway, two main things I need you to remember from this. Anytime that we are putting on anything other than skin and we want it to take the makeup the same as skin, we need to treat it with castor sealer. Makeup remover, castor sealer. Mine looks like that. It says castor sealer on it. It's not really a sealing thing. It's more like an extra layer of oil, and it doesn't ever really fully dry. It's just a coating of stuff that you put on anything, whether it's nose and scar wax or liquid latex or toilet paper, anything that's not skin that you want to take makeup like skin, you need to remember to put this extra layer of stuff on it so that it acts and does blend in better with your own makeup face, with your own face, your own skin. Okay, anyway, the other thing that we need to talk about as far as super important with any of this, we call it three-dimensional materials. It's just anything else other than your own skin that you're sticking on, is that we need to be cognizant, careful on how it transitions. So it's not only the color matching that is going to give it away as being fake, but it's also how well it transitions from the real to the fake. So typically around the edges, on the underside of the nose, perhaps. All of those are places that we need to make sure that you're super cognizant of dealing with and addressing, because that's what's going to help it look more real. Yes, Carly.
Does baby oil work?
Yes, as a thin layer. So not super. Yes, baby oil will work. What else do I want? Okay. You will be incorporating at least 2 of these techniques or materials into your next project, and your next project is Wednesday, and that it is I call it a victim day, something that's scars, bruises, cuts, disfigurements, disease, all of those kind of things would fall into that. The book calls it trauma, but it's not always trauma. I mean, it's also sometimes just being looking like you're in the process of in the middle of a disease, I guess is another way to say it. So with any of these, you have to take some steps into consideration as you're doing your research. So write this down, get a piece of paper because you need to remember this. The book talks a little bit about this, but essentially sort of turn yourself into a CSI investigator sort of thing. Think about it in very forensic, clinical means of research. When you do your project for Wednesday, part of your project is to give me a scenario. Tell me what happened to you in just words. Like, so in the notes component of your chart, whatever, another piece of paper, it's up to you. What very specifically happened? So, did you fall? Did you trip down some stairs? Did you get in a bar fight? I don't need to know like the logistics of why. That's all, I don't care. I just need to know what happened. Like generally, yeah. I tripped down the stairs. It was icy, it was outdoors, and it was cold. So I have a little bit of frostbite. So that sort of thing. Then get into more specifics about what really happened to you. If you got stabbed, was it with a piece of glass? Was it with a serrated knife? Was it with a wooden spear? All of those things are going to impact what the wound is going to look like. And so then you also then go even further and think about at what impact your injury occurred, meaning like angle, force, if it was contact with another surface, was it knuckles? Was it claws? Was it a dashboard? You know what I mean? All of those things will inform the look that you're going to get, the look that you are going to try to achieve.
What's the example of the angle of impact again? What were some examples?
I didn't give any.
Oh,
The angle of like, if it was scraped, like the direction and angle of how that happened. Even thinking about if you were punched by somebody that was right-handed or left-handed, or all of that is going to make a difference. You know, like if you're trying to make it look like somebody's strangling you, have somebody hold their hands like that as they would when they were doing it for you, so that you can kind of look at that. Something else about that. Be as specific as possible. Then you're going to continue on and find some research to back up your imagination. So I will give you a little bit of a warning here that as you do your internet research, as you know, you're going to find a lot of shit out there, meaning very graphic, potentially disturbing images. So if you're not the kind of person that wants to, you don't have to linger on that, but if you're going to be triggered by some of those images, then just be more cautious. Try to find a different project for you to incorporate for Wednesday. Maybe go diseases rather than victim, you know, or accident, gunshot wound person. You'll find images, you will. So just be careful about that. The one thing that's in our benefit is that a lot of people don't do that additional research, or they haven't personally been impacted by a stabbing or a gunshot wound. So a lot of us in the audience don't really know what it looks like. So we tend to do one of those like, oh my God, that's so gross. And then they do this and they don't really like investigate it. I mean, if you're into sort of medical things, maybe you do, maybe, but not most people do anyway. So find your research, be cautious, make sure it's color. Also big star, make sure it's real. I don't want you to do a project of somebody else's victim project. That's not what this is about. I want you to do the research and find the real, and then decipher if it's accurate or not. I mean, sometimes it's captioned so that you can tell. Okay. I want to get to our stuff. What questions do you have about the project for Wednesday? Nothing? I gotta look at my mirror, not my screen. Okay, we'll just do work through some pieces here. Get out your nose and scar wax. Get out your liquid latex if you have. You should have some. Where's mine? Latex. Liquid latex. Nose and scar wax. Mine comes in a little pot. Sometimes it's called nose putty, and so it might be in a little stick. Depends on the brand that you're using. Spirit gum and spirit gum remover. Here's my remover. Blood. We'll need blood. All right. When you do your project, it is a whole face design. So that if you, as an example, are doing something, maybe you were a person that you got mugged or stabbed or something after you were leaving the bar, you're gonna do the whole makeup of everything. So like, what did you look like before you got stabbed and mugged? Did you have makeup on? Did you have no makeup on? But anyway, we have to deal with the whole face on Wednesday, even though you might only be doing a scar on one particular area, because we want it to look like it's part of the whole design. I have glycerin, but you don't have to purchase it. It's just a thing so that if you want to make something look shiny or moist, it lingers longer than just oil. Okay. First thing first. I find that things stick better if you don't have a base of foundation. So I'm going to pause on that a little bit. I don't know. I hope I did do a barrier spray. So get your spatula and your nose and scar wax. Oh, do you have cotton? I think it was on your list. Yeah. I'm peeling out or scooping out just like about that much. We will be doing a little extra something on your nose right now. So nose and scar wax. It is not reusable. It is, yeah, it's kind of like a one and done. It never fully hardens, so that as a downside, if you're in a production that's very physical or dancey, or you're gonna have like a love scene or something, this is probably not the material for you, but it is good for things that need to just stick close by to your face, like a small bump. Well, the first thing we're gonna do is on the nose. So I'm taking some cotton. I don't need the full ball. I'm just gonna take like wispies of it like that. And I take my spirit gum if I can find it. I might have to borrow some from my neighbor. Seriously. Oh, I found it. I got it. Spirit gum. It is one of a couple of different adhesives that are available to you. As Jacob mentioned in the video last week, he talked about Pros-Aid. Pros-Aid is a medical grade. Oh my God, it stinks because it's very alcohol based. Pros-Aid is one that we don't have in our kits and don't use because it is kind of like super duper high powered medical grade adhesive. For now, we'll just stick with our spirit gum, and I'm sticking cotton fibers on it, on the nose and on the spirit gum. I'm going to let that dry there.
Wait, you put spirit gum directly on it?
Mm-hmm. You don't always need to provide the bed of cotton. but especially for some place that it's a technique to help it stay better. So the thing about nose and scar wax is it does need some structure to support it. So like me putting a little scar right here on this flabby part of my face, it's not going to work. Don't even try. It just won't stick, won't stay there because I'm smiling and I'm talking and wiggling and it's not going to stay. So even with the fiber of cotton. So we're talking and we're waiting for this to dry. Let's try something else while we're waiting for this to dry. And a good kind of rule of thumb, just to discover if anybody has any latex sensitivities, is to start with just a patch on the back of your hand. Latex, liquid latex is what you would imagine. It is latex, and people that have a latex allergy or sensitivity to it will potentially have a reaction. So it smells like ammonia because that's what the sort of diluting liquid is. We don't put it really close to our eyes at all. Oh, big note. Your bottles that are smaller probably have a little brush in the cap, and that's intentional because you don't want to use do not use these because you can't get the latex out of it. So that's why they build one into the cap. If you have a big bottle like I do, you can just use your finger or something that's disposable, like one of these little Q-tip guys. And all we're doing right now, just to sort of test how you react to it, is painting it on the back of your hand. And let's make it tight. So like extend your skin out, because this is actually a sort of technique. It is a technique. It doesn't read very well for audience proximities of 30 feet, but it is a technique. Latex alone on a stretched skin. See what I stamped myself with today? Because I felt like I needed that. Mailroom fun. Keep it outstretched. We're going to let this dry with your hand, like taut, like that. I'm going to set this aside and put the lid back on your stuff, spirit gum or latex, so that it doesn't spill on your lap. Latex tends to bond to fibrous things. So if you spill it on the carpet, if you spill it on your pants, it's not going to really come out. You can, if your latex, let me borrow your stuff. Let me borrow it because I'm going to use you as an example. Latex does have a shelf life. So if it's not liquid, if yours is like this, you will want to go get some more, because it just means that it's old. It's had enough contact with the air that it is already coagulating, and there's really not any way to save it. So for today, it's okay. But for Wednesday, Carly, you need to get more.
So I can't use it for today?
You can use it for today. Today's fine. We'll see how it works. It's not going to behave like the good stuff. You can have some of mine if you want to.
Oh, there's something on there.
All right, our nose cotton should be dry by now. When I do this for the class, I always laugh because it's like Simon Says, and then they're like, I have the whole class that can do whatever I ask them to do.
Okay, so do you want us to take off the?
Yes, we're peeling off, kind of hold it because we don't want to rip it all off. But it amazes me the power that I have with it. Okay, do this. Glue this shit on your face. And I'm trying to pick most of it off, so all I have left are just little wispies. I don't recall doing this like in J-term, but I must have. Mine's sticking really well. Dang. I don't want to have that much. We're just giving your nose and scar wax a little bit of a bed to bond with. Okay. And we sculpt with the nose and scar wax as if it's clay. So I use my spatula to scoop it out of the pot. Before the days of spatulas, we used to use the end of the brush, and when our brushes would just snap right off. So, not good. Ooh, shit. I don't care what shape you put it in. I don't care where you put it on your face. All I want you to do today, or on your nose rather, is just experience this moment and this material. Don't worry that it doesn't match your skin color, because we are going to paint it. We're going to give it whatever color you want it to be. If it's sticking to your fingers a lot and it's bothersome to you, you can put a little bit of a layer of like hand lotion, just to kind of lubricate your fingers. And like I said, you don't have to have it perfectly smooth. If you want to have something that is a little bit more textured, maybe you take your thing and give it texture, or make it build into a wart. My upper nose is not very good. If you need to add more and build up onto it, that's fine. Scoop yourself some more. Whenever you get to a point of where you think it's a thing and you're ready to move on, let me know. I'll be honest with you, people either are okay with this or they hate it, because it's just kind of temperamental. And one of the reasons that it's not used a whole lot in a regular performance situation is it's kind of inconsistent. Like, it depends on the humidity, it depends on the person's body temperature, how it's going to react and behave. I mean, if this is all you do and you're very experienced with it, then you know the tips and tips and tricks to make it happen and make it work. Okay, once you get, oh my God, it's itchy now.
It's the cotton.
Because they're gonna want to change it into a different color. And I'm gonna take my latex and hide some of that cotton. Where did it go? I put it. Mixing and matching your materials is totally acceptable. In fact, that's what you do for this project on Wednesday. That's what makeup designers have discovered from working with this stuff, is they just sort of like develop their own techniques, mix and match, come up with some other materials. Sometimes it's even household materials. Like, I think I talked about it in the early days of class. There are appliances, prosthetic pieces that people have made out of gelatin. And that's just literally like Knox gelatin. It's more concentrated, so it's got more body to it, but it's just that. No flavoring, no color. Unflavored gelatin that you can pour into a mold and create a piece for yourself. So I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna grab some napkins. I'll be right back.
I did it out long.
Maybe at Halloween now you can, but you probably have to go to the theatrical shop. Yeah, because it's this time of year, you might get lucky and be able to find it locally, but usually it's the theatrical shop downtown in West Des Moines. Okay, so already for my nose to dry, we can revisit our hand. I don't know that I can help you, but did anybody have any reactions? Are they feeling itchy or red? Everybody good?
I fainted, but only for like a few minutes. So
I knew it. Somebody was glad you're back with us. We're gonna take our powder now. And we'll put a little dusting on that skin and watch the magic. Hopefully.
On the liquid latex.
On the liquid latex on your hand. Just do a little bit of a dusting there. And what it does is essentially highlight all those little wrinkles and creases and stuff. Can you see that?
Oh,
Very subtle. Like I said, more for HD or film and video. Not super applicable for an audience that's in the paw. All right. Next, everybody remember? Castor sealer. Seals latex rubber, but it seals anything that is not skin. Stipple a thin layer of sealer over the appliance with a sponge applicator, blot excess powder, and then put your cream base on. Using another cotton thing. And you just kind of dab it on there.
does the other one have any?
Castor sealer?
Yeah,
Do you have baby oil?
no, but can I borrow yours?
Yeah, I think I have enough.
Can I borrow your baby oil?
We're putting that on right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually probably brush it on. Partly why I'm brushing it is I want it to get in all the little cracks and crevices.
Hey Josie,
Yep,
what are you putting on right now?
castor sealer.
Uh,
It's thicker baby oil, basically. Like, yeah. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Just all over it.
Yeah, you don't need to put it on your skin. You just need to put it on the thing. Anything that's not skin. And then we let it sit there for a second. It, like I said, it doesn't ever dry, but you do want to kind of blot the excess off a little bit. Oh, shit. My nose is coming off. All right. What color shall we be today? I think. Green. I like blue though. My green is so dry. And this is where you have to be super careful. Again. Because you don't want to disturb the work by you pushing too hard with your brush. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't powder. I'll just do this side this way and then I'll powder the other side.
Just painting it
The powder,
or powdering it.
I'm powder, you powder the after the castor sealer. And then, yeah, then you're painting it. Just as you would with any of your other work, even your three-dimensional work needs to be supported with highlights and shadows. So right now, my foundation is gray, I'm sorry, green. Yeah, it's gray. But those places where I have little dips and valleys and highlights and, I'm sorry, things that stick out, I'm going to pick a different color, probably lighter green or yellow, to be my highlight. And then another color to be my shadows. And this is where your color mixing palette chart worksheet that you did might come in handy, so that you can look at what are some options for you that fall in that shade category. You know, when you mix with black, you got a shade. And maybe what would be a good highlight would be something that would be in your tint category. Remember that? That was like weeks ago. And just so that you can see it, I am putting makeup on my face that is not the thing, so that you can see that I've got a little bit of a ridge there, but it pretty much is the same color anyway, and that's what the Castor Sealer is doing for us. Oh, I don't think I'm going to stand the whole time wearing this. And I don't really know why I'm putting more green on my face, but I'll let that sit. If you're doing a fantasy makeup that is of a different color than what a regular skin tone is, like I said, they make powder that is neutral set. It's not tinted with any color at all. So it's not going to pollute or make it change a different way at all. Neutral set is, and in fact, I don't know why they don't just automatically include that in people's kits, because it is nice to have the powder not affect anything. Ooh, I don't want to do that. Messy business, this makeup stuff is. Nose and scar wax, yeah, everybody, yeah. Let's do another one. You can take that off if you want. Does anybody need or want more time to play around with it? You can come back to it, but we did the latex on our hand and looked at that. Let's do a latex scar. I'm sorry, not latex, nose and scar. Scar. Ooh. You know, I'm just going to remind you, we are, it is very itchy. I'm just going to remind you that we are playing today, but before Wednesday, you will have a better idea because you're going to have research to look at, right? I'll share something here with you in a second because I did do, pulled up a research image for you. Share screen. So anatomy of a bruise is here. Depending on when the impact occurred, it will change color. That was the other thing that I forgot to include. Gosh, I'm scattered today, sorry. As part of your scenario, was medical treatment involved? Is this, were there stitches, were there staples? how long has this injury, when did it happen? Like how old is it, I guess is what I should say. And that becomes super, super important, not only with bruising, but even just like whether the blood is coagulated, if this is a disease, is it early stages of AIDS, or is it somewhat in remission, or is it all of those different kinds of stages of an illness look differently. So that's why you're determining that in your story, and then you're also then including that in the work. So I'm going to go back to nose and scar wax. Let me do a quick find of laceration. Yeah, sorry. Should have given you a little bit of a warning.
How long does liquid latex last?
It depends on if it's opened at all.
After you open it?
Like a couple months.
Like
Yeah.
3 months?
Yeah, like 3 months. Looking at these, maybe we should just look at the diagram one. This is a pretty okay one. Sorry. See how it starts at nothing? And as the wound is opened, I know Fee, sorry. And then it gets down to like, it sort of tapers off into nothing. They don't specify as to what caused it, but I'm just gonna guess it was a regular unserrated knife. We'll do a little bit of a bump on your forehead first, so that we can take some nose and scar wax and build a swollenness. See, can you see how it isn't just smooth to the surface anymore? Once the body has experienced trauma like that, it's rushing blood to the area that it wants to help or protect. And so that's why there is a little bit of swelling that happens. I'm just doing it on the forehead area. I'm not going through the steps of, stop here. I'm not going through the steps of the fiber cotton bed. I'm just gonna make a little bit of a bump here. And again, don't worry about it maybe not matching your skin color, because that doesn't matter. You're gonna have castor sealer and then foundation of some color, and then other makeup on there. Did you pour some castor sealer out for yourself, or you're gonna use just baby oil?
I don't have the pass. I just use baby oil.
You're on baby oil. We'll do this in steps a little bit, just so you can see it. It's just a bump for now. A little
It
bit.
honestly works better like that instead of doing the cotton thing.
It depends on where you're putting it. Like your forehead is very structural or supportive.
Carly, maybe it's not too big. Please.
Let it sit for a second. Blot the excess. And then powder.
I see now that I shouldn't put yellow. Because that shows it's over, right?
Wait, Josie, are you using liquid latex for this one as well?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Are we gonna do this something with this later?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that was just to get the feeling.
To test that it wasn't gonna, you weren't gonna like anaphylax out.
Did you use cotton again? I like
Did not.
missed it.
Nope, no fiber in the base, just another showing you how to do it or what the reaction might, how it might stay. Nose and star wax is not gonna be supportive of anything larger than, let's say, an inch away from the face. I mean, this is kind of pretty good for,
This hurts.
but certainly like a Cyrano nose, it's not gonna, that would be a prosthetic that you're gonna create out of a different material. Don't even ask it to stick there like this. So I'm gonna take powder now and powder over my castor sealer. Ugh.
Feeling like the liquid latex hurts.
It does. But I wasn't gonna tell you till later.
Cat out of the bag.
Yeah, the more I've been wiggling my forehead and talking, the more cracky it's getting. So it's not very good. Let's put foundation. Hands are sticky. Different color. A bump on your forehead for now, and it's going to turn into a laceration.
We want to paint the bump as well.
You need foundation, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my skin underneath is wrinkly, so it doesn't look very real. When your skin stretches because of swelling, it also then sometimes has that shininess look to it. So I'm putting a little bit of glycerin, maybe, just to see it. Baby oil kind of does the same thing. Like I said, glycerin tends to stay a little bit better on the surface. Okay. So, ooh, bump. Wow, I might add a little bit of bruising around that. We'll actually do a black eye here in a second, but because that's probably one of the most common effects that you will need to do or learn, or techniques, because it happens all the time. How do we show that somebody was just in a fight like 2 days ago or last night in a play? Oh, well, they come back the next day and they have a black eye or a little bit of a cut or something on their mouth. So to make a laceration, you'll need some kind of a sharp edge, maybe on your spatula. If you want, and you're careful, you can use a little bit of a safety pin and just kind of drag it in to make the look of a cut. Here's another thing that I've used my little clippy. I'll just drag that in. And you have to push hard enough that you're going to get that cut, you know? If a cut is deep enough to require stitches, and this is kind of a thing for you to know as a person, if you get a cut and you're like, oh, do I need stitches? And you clean it and you look at it and you can see where inside the cut it is, looks like chicken fat, you know, that sort of yellow globule stuff. You need stitches. It's gone deep enough into your dermis. I'll get my little chart out again, share screen. There you can see There's laceration, and it's just a thin layer before you hit some of that body fat. So that's that. I'm going to take a little bit of blood now, or you can just use some of your red makeup. It will work with a very thin brush. And paint that in there. The blood in your kit, most probably something like that, is just a basic, nothing special kind of blood. And it's, depending on your application, there are a gazillion different bloods that are out there on the market. So if you're going to be putting something in your mouth, there's a blood for that. If you're going to be putting blood on something that needs to be laundered, it probably has detergent, a little bit of detergent in it, and you don't want to put that in your mouth. So there's blood that looks like it's dried blood. So yeah, all sorts of different options. There's even what they call mass casualty blood pouches. And so when you're going to be doing maybe a fright house, or you're going to be doing an accident reenactment, that's what they actually sell it for, is so like when people do like first responder trainings to a airplane crash and they hire actors to go lay there and pretend like they have a wound, they have these pouches of, oh, I just lost my cut. See, they have these pouches that look like big pouches of Gatorade, and they make a big batch of it, like gallons, so that then it can be used for those mass casualty reenactments. This is my favorite. I'll just share that with you. It's called thick blood, because it's just what you would imagine. It's paste. It's like, I love it. Let's put a little bit of.
For when the air has made your.
Yeah, they used to call it fresh scab, but that kind of gross people out. So can't imagine.
Why did you stick it in your?
This is so much better when you've done your research, when you have pictures to look at, rather than just playing around. But playing around is fun too. Let's do a black eye. We'll take a quick moment and oh, let me go back to blood a second. And blood in your mouth. They sell empty capsules so that in the course of needing to have like somebody's in a stage fight on stage, you can pre-fill these with your blood and then just pop it in your mouth and either just let it dissolve or bite down. I'm not gonna do it right now, but they come in all different sizes depending on the amount of blood that you want. You can just do like massive or baby, doesn't matter. John Graham did a show here Burial at Thebes is what it was. And he wanted the end scene to have the actor just like whole mouthful of blood. And so he made these like ravioli packs, that's what I call them, but we made it with fruit roll-ups. Like we made, how you can get them in those sheets so they look like fruit. And we would put blood in between two layers of the fruit roll-ups and then like crimp the edges and put that in his mouth. And then he would, by then it was dissolving. So, okay, let's find your stipple sponge. Some of you may actually have a bruise wheel. Do you? Cuts and bruises is this one. The thing about a black eye is to make sure, well, first off, it's going to look differently on everybody's skin color. Just depends on your own pigmentation. So as you're doing your research, try to find images, information that is specific to your, closer to your skin coloring. The other thing that we want to know about a black eye, let me find a picture rather than just talk about it. Black-eyed peas, no, thank you. Images. Oh, lovely. That's awesome. As you can tell, all of these are in different stages of healing. Here's one diagram that actually even talks about that. The fresher the bruise, the redder it is. That's what, you don't imagine that it's really that way, but that's progression. I can't get there, can I? Oh, did not want to do that. Can you see it? No. Because I can't see it. Can you see it? There's like images over here in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe if I click on it. There we go. So super fresh. And then as it ages, this is what eventually it looks like. Because of the orbital socket that you have right here, oftentimes you may have an impact on your forehead, either through a fight or a car accident or something. And the blood just has a natural place to collect down underneath your eye. So that's why sometimes when people have like a nose job or other surgery, facial surgery, they'll have collection of that bruising in that area. So sorry, I'm talking and not really doing it. So a lot of my red is gone. We'll start out with a little bit of, and we don't want it to be super dense. We want to have those little dots and pigmentation. We don't want it to look like eyeshadow. That's the trick. The other trick is to kind of act, you know, like if you've encountered a wound on this side, you have to sort of, you know, keep that eye closed. I'm going to do a little bit of more dark purple or blue on the underside. Remember when we use our stipple, we want to also contact that skin and rotate that imprint so that it's not a consistent repeat of that print. In order for it to read on maybe somebody that has a little bit of a darker skin tone, having a little bit of yellow might help it. But then that also sort of leans to that notion of the bruise, the black eye healing. So it just changes the the age of your bruise. I'm gonna actually find purple because my little blue is not really reading very well. I don't know. In the camera, it looks okay. Up close, it doesn't really. Oh, that's brown. Purple. Okay. Time is it? Shit, we got to do something with liquid latex. Okay, liquid latex. We're moving on from the black eye.
So you just keep stippling and adding on.
You gotta know when to stop. That's the hard part. It's like people tend to sort of keep working it. At some point, you gotta kind of powder it too, so it's not gonna smear. I just don't want to take that time right now. Liquid latex. We talked about it being another adhesive for you. I'm gonna use a little bit of instant rice. You can get yourself some toilet paper. Toilet paper or facial tissue. Do you have a Kleenex in your room? Let's do that one too. Grab some. All right. This next technique, I'm not going to even tell you what it is necessarily, but as far as technique, is usable for a lot of different effects, I guess is what I should say. So toilet paper now comes in 2-ply at Drake. Yay, Drake. I'm going to take a little bit and crumple it up. And then I'm going to take, and I don't want to have any of these cut edges on it. So I'm going to gently sort of just tear it. As you know from the scene shop, whenever you do a Dutchman, we want those little feathered edges to help and make it disappear. So I'm just cutting, I'm tearing my paper. And I'm making a patch, just like that big for now. I'm going to take some latex. I'm just going to paint it on. First layer is just as an adhesive, just as a glue. So I'm putting that there. I got my little crumpled paper. And depending on what you want the thing to look like, you can control it to be a scar. You can control it to look more like a burn or the scar from a burn. It's sticking to my fingers. I don't like that. So once it's placed, then you'll need more to seal it down. So it goes latex, stuff, latex. And I say stuff because I'll show you another part. Here's latex, instant rice, and then once it sticks there and dries, I'll put latex on it again.
So nasty.
The instant rice tends to look like maggots a little bit. I've had a student that did this kind of thing and they wanted the texture for a mermaid. So they took the little teeny tiny rubber bands from, you know, when you get braces and you have to like wear those rubber bands to pull your teeth down. They laid those little rubber bands all over with latex, and then they put latex on top of it so that they could make their face look oceanic. I don't know, whatever.
Like scales.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let this dry a little bit.
Here's the same big cow.
I don't want to have any toilet paper unsealed because it won't take the makeup at all. I've had, we've done it for shows that we wanted to have this as an old age look. So you can take the latex and tissue paper and latex, and it looks like old age wrinkles. You can do that same thing with cotton. You can do it with whatever, as long as it's very lightweight. I don't want my maggots to fall off. How often do you get to say that in class? You can use the liquid latex to stick on staples if you wanted to look like, you know, you had your surgical wound was stapled shut, or little threads. I'm just going to let that sit there for a bit. Cornmeal has an interesting sort of texture to it with liquid latex. Any cereals are actually kind of fun, like Cheerios and Rice Krispies and stuff. Another, I don't have it with me here because since we cleaned out the makeup, but you can use, I call it saran wrap, but clear cling wrap. And if you do that latex cling wrap and then latex the edges, it starts to look like your skin has been peeled off. It's almost as if it's like you're looking inside the muscles of the arm or a leg. And this project doesn't, your project for Wednesday does not have to be on your face. If you had a desire to maybe have a laceration on your arm or your ankle or something, or I keep fixating also on wounds, and it doesn't have to be a wound. I just got to keep reminding you of that. It can be disease. Just got to let it dry, and then also remember to put castor sealer on it. Ooh, I'm going to run out of battery.
If you did something like one of those, I don't know if it's like gangrene or something, where you get like decaying in your extremities, like around your fingernails, does that kind of like latex stuff work in those areas? Like
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
Okay.
The only place I wouldn't use liquid latex is really close to the eyes. And you can already tell from it being on your face that the fumes are pretty annoying. That ammonia is strong and just not good. I'm not gonna probably have time to paint this up, but you understand the concept of it as far as latex for adhesive, stuff, manipulate the texture, and then seal it down. My nose and scar wax bump already fell off. Like I said, it's disposable, it's not reusable. Just as a sample so that you know what it's gonna feel like, you can start to peel off that latex from your fingers or from the back of your hand. It comes off kind of like rubber cement, kind of. But wherever you're hairy, it may potentially hurt because you're peeling off the little baby fuzz hairs. So if you have peach fuzz on your chin, sorry. You won't when we're done today. But you can see even just leaving it there, it starts to, you can use that as an effect. People want to make it look like you've got a sunburn peeling or some kind of, I don't know, chemical reaction or something. Nose and scar wax also works really well to embed other things in it. So like maybe you wanted to have your face look like it's got a piece of glass protruding out of it, or a fork or a pencil. You have to break off that utensil and place it into the nose and scar wax and give it a good sort of shove so it's gonna stay. But that's liquid latex and nose and scar
So, like,
wax.
what would we paint this thing to be like? What would this usually?
It depends on if you want it to be a scar or old age or some other disease. If you're careful with how you place this, like you can really look, I had somebody that did one that looked like the sole plate of an iron, you know, like somebody had tortured them with a Oh, okay. All right, any more questions before we start to clean this stuff off? I talked too much in the beginning, sorry. But you needed to understand the parameters of the assignment. And then you hear it peeling off. If my battery doesn't last, it's been real, everybody.
Does the spirit gum remover take off the latex too? or no?
That's it. Thank you for reminding me. Where we had spirit gum, which was on your nose. You want to peel off most of that stuff and then massage the spirit gum remover onto where you had spirit gum. It's just a slightly different product, and makeup remover itself doesn't really take it off. So thank you for reminding me. Oh. What a mess. Blood. Spirit gum remover. Letting it soak on there a little bit helps.
You can see some of my hair cut. Ew.
Okay, are we out? Everybody? I do not remember doing this for the other classes. Oh well. Halloween is just this weekend, so you know. Put out a shingle and let people know that you're
Well, this is gonna help for my vampire makeup.